I'm honored to be here and to give the opening remarks at the Digital Europe Finance Conference. I think it's fair to say as a starter that the time when a Minister of Finance and/or the regulators only had to take care of traditional banks and insurance companies is long gone. In recent years, we've seen the sector evolving at truly lightning speed. The word financial revolution is really appropriate here, I think. And innovation and disruption of existing business is coming faster and faster, not only in the financial sector. Who would have thought, for example, 10 years ago, that Nokia would not be around anymore? Today, many other examples of that kind of evolution can be given. Nevertheless, there are also enough examples of established companies reinventing themselves continuously. Netflix, for example, which was a mail-order company for DVDs, is now the biggest player in the video online business. IBM, another example, who transformed itself from a producer of hardware to a software services company and did that in a very successful way. Companies need to be agile and reinvent themselves continuously. And this is certainly not different for the financial sector. I'd like to quote Albert Einstein here, who once said, "The true sign of intelligence is not knowledge, but imagination. Logic, knowledge, will get you from A to B. Imagination will take you everywhere." But perhaps the word disruption has too negative connotation, as also the concept of creative destruction, where too often the destructive part is emphasized as opposed to the creative side. But after all, what is really important is that every change offers opportunities. What then might the financial sector of the digital future look like? The traditional boundaries between banks, insurers, and other sectors or subsectors are fading more and more. The focus is on the services themselves and on the end consumer. New players and new technologies shape an intuitive, digital and mobile approach. Digitalization and technology within the financial sector are already leading to new services and players in the market. Making online payments in real time, mobile insurance tailored to your needs, booking and paying a hotel through social media, applying for a loan through a real estate app. Numerous examples can be given of this evolution. The fintech companies will, that is absolutely certain, fundamentally change the business model and the modus operandi of traditional financial institutions. New technologies will reduce costs and improve the quality of services. In addition, new technologies can ensure that some of the traditional risks in classical banking are avoided or at least attenuated. For example, digital platforms bring lenders and borrowers directly into contact with each other. Fintech companies can undoubtedly contribute to a more diversified and even more safe environment. However, we must certainly not be blind to the risks. As a government and as a regulator, we have to ensure that all of this can be done in, indeed, a safe environment. That the stability of the financial sector and, very important, trust in the sector is monitored, and that in a world of big data, we also draw a clear line as far as privacy is concerned. In the US, to give an example of the last issue, the insurer John Hancock determines, thanks to the information gathered through a bracelet, insurance premiums based on the way of living of its customers, the level of exercise, how often you go to the doctor, and what you eat. Would we allow this in Europe or in Belgium? Does this not run up against one of the basic insurance principles whereby the fortunate also contribute for the less fortunate? I'm just asking the questions. Answers are much less easy to give. Regulators are putting a lot of effort in trying to make the right balance between the principle of proportionality on the one hand and ensuring sufficient level playing field on the other hand. They should conduct a continuous digital fitness check of financial institutions and analyze and stimulate new business models. But all this without, of course, lowering regulatory and prudential standards. This is evidently a very thin line they have to walk. Fintech also offers regulators an important opportunity. By building on the analytical skills of fintech, supervisors can much improve the efficiency of their supervisory and regulatory processes. An example of this can be found in the UK, where the Bank of England launched its own fintech accelerator to explore how fintech innovations such as big data analytics can be used in the supervisor's day-to-day business. The European legislator is showing the way by setting new global standards on privacy through GDPR and by creating a level playing field for traditional and emerging payment systems providers through PSD2. I strongly believe Europe can become a frontrunner in the switch to a new business model, whereby digital platforms become ecosystems that handle data and privacy in a much more transparent and correct way. The financial sector will have to organize itself differently. That much is certain. Cooperation at national and international level will be crucial for growth. Ecosystems with varying partnerships in function of the opportunities are the business models of the future. And that is exactly why last year, together with the financial institutions in Belgium, we took the initiative to set up B-HIVE, an ecosystem in which government and private sector, banks and fintech companies can work together with regulators on innovation in the broad financial sector. We also built active partnerships with tech hubs and governments abroad, because again, we strongly believe that the exchange of knowledge across borders leads to better results. Ecosystems can only succeed if they rely on three pillars: sufficient growth funding, development of the talent pool, and an interesting market for doing, or markets for doing business. As a government, we work hard together with the private sector to build these three pillars in Belgium. As you probably know, later this week in Antwerp, Supernova is taking place, a 4-day conference for technology scale-ups from all over Europe, during which they can pitch their innovative ideas with investors and attract talent. The challenge for our financial institutions is to work together with these new and constantly changing technological partners. Financial institutions can offer their distribution network, capital, and regulatory knowledge, and the fintech players their talents, flexibility, and their innovative approach. In this way, we arrive at a win-win situation, and fintech become tech for fin. I want to close my opening remarks with a return to the risk element in everything we've been saying, and you will probably also be talking about in the coming hours, because I think it's basic with respect to these new business models. And as a matter of fact, with respect to all new forms of financial intermediation, that the greatest transparency possible should be aimed at also in terms of the financing side of the business. Technically speaking, I'm talking about the liability of the balance sheet, or the liabilities of the balance sheet, which, for example, are today the links between the classical financial institutions and what is often termed the shadow banking system, which is of course responsible for a lot of positive, innovative work. I don't know the answer to that question, and I find out every day that we are all at the international level looking at answers to that question. Are there systemic risks hidden in those financial streams of which we are not aware today? I'm not saying it is like that. I would only sleep a little bit more comfortable if I would have a little bit more data and information on what exactly is happening there and who is taking which risks. I hope we get more information on that. It's of course institutions like the National Bank, the Bank for International Settlements in Bâle, the IMF and other institutes like that who will have to provide us with answers to those questions. But I really think it's imperative that we get answers to those questions if we want to ensure the stability of the financial and by consequences the entire economic system for the future. I hope you enjoy your day. I hope you have a lot of interesting exchange of information, and I wish you all the best. Thank you.